Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, everyone. So, thank you everyone for joining in. Let's start with in this way. We have to start from here. So, those who want to read may raise their hand. If I see more than 2 hand raised, then no. So, I should start, and thereafter Shweta would continue. In this way, killing Salva and destroying the wonderful airplane, and then killing Dantavakra and Viduratha, Lord Krishna at last entered his city Dwarka. It would not have been possible for anyone but Krishna to kill these great heroes, and therefore all the demigods from heaven and the human being on the surface of the globe were glorifying him. Great sages and ascetics and denizens of the Siddha and Gandharva planets and denizens known as Vidyadhara, Vasuki, and Mahanagas, the beautiful angels, the inhabitants of Pitraloka, the Yakshasa, the Kinnara, and the Charanas, all showered flowers upon him and sang songs of his glory in great jubilation, decorating the entire city very festively. The citizens of Dwarka held a great celebration, and when Lord Krishna passed through the city, all the members of the Vrishni dynasty and the heroes of the Yadu dynasty followed him with great respect. These are some of the transcendental pastimes of Lord Krishna, the master of all mystic powers and the Lord of all cosmic manifestation. Those who are fools, who are like animals, sometimes think that Krishna is defeated, but factually he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and no one can defeat him. He always remains victorious over everyone. He alone is God, and all other are his subservient order carrier. So from this paragraph, this is very clear that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There is no one equal to Krishna. There is no one greater than Krishna. Krishna is Asam Urdhva. Now thinking, some of us do not get this, right? They say that, yeah, okay, even if Krishna is supreme, and they would add even if Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, how does the situation change, right? All demigods are order carriers, but again, we have to respect them as well. We have to look upon them as elevated personalities because they are pure devotees of Krishna. A pure devotee of Krishna has to be respected in all manner. Yeah. To them, a simple understanding is, but not everyone can speak in the same manner. That's the problem. To them, a simple understanding is very, very simple. Can you respect your brother the same way you respect your father? Now, in the same breath, all are respectable, isn't it? So we should be respecting our brothers the same way we are respecting our father. Is it? No. Then can we respect Krishna the same way we respect demigods? Definitely, demigods are elevated personalities, no doubt on that. They are demigods because Krishna has entrusted them with some powers, isn't it? Now, if Krishna has entrusted them with powers, there must be some elevated personalities. Krishna does not entrust with power just about anyone. Huh? So yeah, they are elevated personality for sure, no doubt on that. But again, they cannot be treated on an equal level with Krishna. Yes. Okay. You told last class that we should start from there so that we could connect. Okay, yeah. Once upon a time, Lord Balrama heard that an arrangement was being made for the fight between two rival parties in the Kuru dynasty, one headed by Duryodhana and other by Pandavas. He did not like the idea. He tried to act as a mediator to stop the fighting, finding it impossible to take an active part on behalf of either party. He left Dwarka on the plea of visiting various holy places of pilgrimage. He first of all visited the place of pilgrimage known as Prabhasa Kshetra. He took his bath there and he pacified the local brahmanas and offered oblations to the demigods, Pitras, great sages, and people in general in accordance with the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. That is the Vedic method of visiting holy place. After this, accompanied by some respectable brahmanas, he decided to visit different places on the bank of river Saraswati. He gradually visited such places as Prithu Daka, Bindusara, Trita Kupa, Sudarshana Tirtha, Vishala Tirtha, uh, Brahma Tirtha, Chakra Tirtha. Besides these, he also visited all the holy places on the river, on the bank of the Saraswati River running towards the east. After this, he visited all the principal holy places on the bank of the Yamuna and on the bank of Ganga. He thus gradually came to the holy place known as Naimisharanya. Now, Naimisharanya is the same place where this Parikshit Maharaj heard Srimad Bhagavatam. Naimisharanya is still existing in India, and in ancient time it was especially used for meeting of great sages and saintly persons with the aim of understanding spiritual life and self-realization. When Lord Balrama, before continuing, when Lord Balrama, we would continue from here. But tell me one thing. Krishna wanted fight, right? Now some of us would say that no, Krishna did not want fight. Krishna went as a peacemaker between the two parties, right? This Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra did not agree, else Krishna would have held the peace. Okay. But at this point, Krishna was determined to fight. Yes, even Arjuna was thinking not to fight. But Krishna was very sure that we have to fight. Krishna tells this in Bhagavad Gita as well. Now tell me one thing. There are two sides. One Krishna, who wants to fight. Second Balrama. Look, when Lord Balrama heard that the arrangement was being made for the fight between two rival parties in the Kuru dynasty, one headed by Duryodhana and another headed by Pandavas, he did not like the idea. Krishna himself gave Narayani Sena to this one, Duryodhana. He knew that the fight would go on. So this is contradiction. On one side, we have Duryodhana, who asked for this one, this military. Krishna gave him, and Krishna wanted the fight to happen. Why would Balrama not want this fight to happen? Do you mean to say Balrama is acting against Krishna? Is this what is written out here? Can someone explain me? Balrama does not want fight. Krishna wanted fight. Balrama is standing against Krishna. Can someone explain? Is it that Balrama is standing against Krishna? Anyone? No? Could someone please explain? Yeah? Okay. No, Krishna in the form of Balrama is given chance. Krishna is a merciful father. He is merciful upon those who are doing right and to those as well who are doing wrong. But the problem is that those who are doing wrong, they would not accept Krishna's words. Is someone doing wrong, Bali Maharaj, someone doing wrong, they could be uplifted within a fraction of a second if they surrender onto Krishna. Krishna does not say that if you are a pious person and thereafter worship onto me, surrender onto me, pay homage onto me, think of me. Krishna does not say that only a pious person would be relieved as they surrender onto Krishna of all their sins. Krishna never said that. However, the problem is that as one is evil, as one is Asuri, he would not be able to follow instruction of Krishna, Guru. He would not be able to follow because you can well understand from Bhagavad Gita itself. In Bhagavad Gita, it is mentioned that those who are in mode of goodness, they follow scriptures. Right? Those who are in mode of passion, they follow their own benefit, something like money, power. Yeah. And those who are in mode of ignorance, they go against scripture. They do not follow scripture. They go against the scripture. Yeah, whatever scripture say, they would do against. So those who are demoniac, they would not be able to follow. That's the problem. Else Krishna is merciful upon each one of us. Now, because someone is doing bhakti, he would be able to get to that platform. And someone not doing bhakti, if he just tries to do, right, he would be elevated somewhat. If he is doing bhakti with honest hearts, full dedication, it really does not matter for how long he has been doing bhakti. Krishna excuses all souls. Again, remember Bali Maharaj. Krishna excuses all souls of their material contamination if they surrender onto Krishna. The only clause is if they surrender onto Krishna. If they do not surrender onto Krishna, there is no hope. So Krishna is giving opportunity again. Balarama supports Duryodhana. Yeah, because Krishna wants Duryodhana to understand that he must give up his free will, his idea of becoming king. He must give up that because he is not look for two reasons Duryodhana could not be king. One, Duryodhana could not be king because of his parental heritage. Second, Duryodhana could not be king because he is not qualified. He does not have qualities of being a king. Kansa was a king, yeah, but he was not qualified, so he had to die. You cannot take away from Krishna his opulence and enjoy if you do not do it the way Krishna wants. If you want to enjoy and do, look, there could be two ways. If you want to enjoy and do sato karm, right? Again, you would be benefited that opportunity. Again, you would get that opportunity, right? Again and again, you would be given that opportunity. You would be away from Krishna all the time. You would be away from Krishna, and that is the biggest pain that anyone could get, right? However, if someone utilizes it for Krishna, then the pain is vanquished. Pain ends there. Yeah. So Krishna is very merciful upon each one of us. Yeah. Irrespective of our position, condition, and whatever. Yeah, Shweta, please continue from here. When Lord Balram.
When Lord Balrama visited that place, there was a great sacrifice being performed by a great assembly of transcendentalists. Such meetings are planned to last thousands of years. When Lord Balrama arrived, all the participants in the meeting, great sages, ascetics, brahmanas, and learned scholars, immediately arose from their seats and welcomed him with great honor and respect. Some offered him respects by standing up and then paying obeisances, and those who were elderly great sages and brahmanas offered him blessings after standing up. After this formality, Lord Balrama was offered a suitable seat, and everyone present worshipped him. Everyone in the assembly stood up in the presence of Balrama because they knew him to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Education or learning means to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although Lord Balrama appeared on the earth as a Kshatriya, all the Brahmanas and sages stood up because they knew who Lord Balrama was. Unfortunately, after being worshipped and seated in his place, Lord Balrama saw Romaharshana, the disciple of Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation of Godhead. Still sitting on the Vyasasan, he had neither gotten up from his seat nor offered him respects. Because he was seated on the Vyasasan, he foolishly thought himself greater than the Lord. Therefore, he did not get down from his seat or bow down under before the Lord. Lord Balrama then considered the history of Roma Harshana. He was born in a Sooth family or a mixed family, born of a Brahmana woman and a Kshatriya man. Therefore, although Roma Harshana considered Balrama a Kshatriya, he should not have remained sitting on a higher seat. According to his position by birth, he should not even have accepted the higher sitting position because many learned Brahmanas and sages were present. Lord Balrama also observed that Romaharshana not only refused to come down from his exalted seat but did not even stand up and offer his respects when Balramji entered the assembly. Lord Balrama did not like the audacity of Romaharshana and becoming very angry at him, declared from his seat, "This man Romaharshana is so impudent that he has accepted a higher seat than that of all the respectable Brahmanas present here, although he was born in a degraded Pratiloma family. When a person is seated on the Vyas asana, he does not generally have to stand to receive a particular person entering the assembly. But in this case, the situation was different because Lord Baldev is not an ordinary human being. Therefore, although Romaharshana Sutta was voted to the Vyas asana by all the Brahmanas, he should have followed the behavior of other learned sages and Brahmanas present and should have known that Lord Balrama is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Respects are always due him, even though such respects can be avoided in the case of an ordinary man. The appearance of Krishna and Balrama is especially meant for re-establishment of the religious principles. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the highest religious principle is to surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms that the topmost perfection of religion is to be engaged in the devotional service of the Lord. When Lord Balrama saw that Romaharshana Sooth did not understand the highest principle of religion in spite of his having studied all the Vedas, he certainly could not support his position. Romaharshana Sooth had been given the chance to become a perfect Brahmana, but because of his ill behavior in his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his low birth was immediately remembered. Romaharshana Sooth had been given the position of a Brahmana, but he had not been born in the family of a Brahmana. He had been born in Pratiloma family. According to the Vedic concept, there are two kinds of mixed family heritage called Anulom and Pratilom. When a male is united with a female of a lower caste, the offspring is called Anulom. But when a male unites with a woman of a higher caste, the offspring is called Pratilom. Romaharshana Sooth belonged to a Pratilum family because his father was a Kshatriya and his mother a Brahmana. Because Romaharshana's transcendental realization.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah. So there's a network failure, and it dropped. It's okay. We would continue. Okay.
Hare Krishna. When a male is united with a female of a lower caste, the offspring is called Anulom. But when a male unites with a woman of a higher caste, the offspring is called Pratilom. Romaharshana Sooth belonged to a Pratilom family because his father was a Kshatriya and his mother a Brahmana. Because Romaharshana's transcendental realization was not perfect, Lord Balrama remembered his Pratilom heritage. The idea is that any man may be given the chance to become a Brahmana, but if he improperly uses the position of a Brahmana without actual realization, then his elevation to the Brahmanical position is not valid. After seeing
Hare
Krishna.
Let me continue from there. After seeing the deficiency of realization of Roma Harsana Sutta, Lord Balrama decided to chastise him up for being puffed up. Lord Balrama therefore said, "This man is liable to be awarded the death punishment because although he has the good qualification of being a disciple of Lord Vyasadeva, and although he has studied all the Vedic literature from this exalted personality, he was not submissive in the presence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. As is stated in Bhagavad Gita, a person who is actually a Brahmana and very learned must automatically become very gentle also. But although Romaharsana Sutta was very learned and had been given the chance of becoming a Brahmana, he had not become gentle. From this, we can understand that one who is puffed up with material uh, acquisitions cannot acquire the gentle behavior befitting a Brahmana. The learning of such a person is as good as valuable jewel decorated the hood of a serpent. Despite the valuable gel on the hood, a serpent is still a serpent and is as fearful as an ordinary serpent. If a person does not become meek and humble, if a person does not become meek and humble, all his studies of the Vedas and Purana and his vast knowledge of the Shastra are simply outward dress, like the costume of theatrical artists dancing on the stage. Lord Balarama considered, I have appeared in order to chastise false persons who are internally impure but externally pose themselves as very learned and religious. My killing of such persons is proper to check them from further sinful activity. Lord Balrama had avoided taking part in the battle of Kurukshetra, and yet, because of his position as an incarnation of the re-establishment of religious principle was his prime duty. Considering these points, he killed Romaharsana Sutta simply by striking him with a kusa straw, which was nothing but a blade of grass. If someone questions how Lord Balrama could kill Romaharsana Sutta simply by striking him with a blade of grass, the answer is given in Srimad Bhagavatam by the use of the word Prabhu, Master. The Lord's position is always transcendental, and because he is omnipotent, he can act as he likes without being obligated to follow the material laws and principles. Thus, it was possible for him to kill Roma Harsana Sutta simply by striking him with the blade of Pusha grass. At the death of Roma Harsana Sutta, everyone present became much aggrieved and cried out, Alas, alas. Although all the Brahmanas and the sages present there knew Lord Balarama to be Supreme Personality of Godhead, they did not hesitate to protest the Lord's action. They humbly submitted, Oh, our dear Lord, we think that your action is not in line with the religious principle. Dear Lord Yadunandana, we may inform you that we are Brahmanas posted Roma Harsana Sutta on that exalted position for the duration uh, of this great sacrifice. He was seated on the Vyasasana by our election. And when one is seated on Vyasasana, it is improper for him to stand up to receive a person. Moreover, he awarded Roma Harsana Sutta an undisturbed duration of life. Under the circumstances, since your lordship has killed him without knowing all these facts, we think that your action is equal to killing a Brahmana. Dear Lord, deliverer of all fallen souls, we know for certain that you are the knower of all Vedic principles. You are the master of all mystic powers. Therefore, the Vedic injunction cannot ordinarily be applied to you, but we respectfully advise you to show your causeless mercy upon others by kindly atoning for this killing of Roma Harsana Sutta. We do not, however, suggest that what kind of act you should perform to atone for killing him. We simply suggest that you adopt some method of atonement so that others may follow your action. What is done by a great personality is followed by the ordinary man. The Lord replied, Yes, I must atone for this action, which may have been proper for me but improper for others. Therefore, I think it is my duty to execute a suitable act of atonement enjoined in the authorized scriptures. Simultaneously, I can also give this Roma Harsana Sutta life again with a span of long duration, sufficient strength and full powers of the senses. Not only this, but if you desire, I shall be glad to award him anything else you may ask. I shall be very glad to grant all these boons to fulfill your desires. The statement of Lord Balrama definitely confirms that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is free to act in any way. Although his killing of Roma Harsana Sutta may be considered improper, he could immediately counteract it with great profit to all. However, one should not imitate the actions of Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should simply follow the instruction of the Lord. All the great learned sages present realized that although they considered the action of Lord Balrama improper, the Lord was immediately able to compensate with great profits. Not wanting to detract from the mission of the Lord in killing Roma Harsana Sutta, all of them prayed. Our dear Lord, the uncommon use of your Kusha weapon to kill Roma Harsana Sutta may remain as it is, because you desired to kill him, but he should not be brought to life again. At the same time, your lordship may remember that we sages and brahmanas voluntarily gave him long life. Therefore, such a benediction should not be nullified. Thus, the request of all the learned brahmanas in the assembly of the was ambiguous, because they wanted to keep intact their benediction that Roma Harsana Sutta would continue to live until the end of the great sacrifice. But at the same time, they did not want to nullify Balarama's killing him. Hare Krishna. Someone please continue. Anshika?
Hare Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead solved the problem in a manner befitting his exalted position. He said, because the Son is produced from the body of the Father, the Vedas enjoin that the Son is the Father's representative. Therefore, I say that Ugrashrava Sutta, the son of Romaharshana Sutta, should henceforth take his father's position and continue the discourses on the Pandava, on the Puranas. And because he wanted Roma Harshana to have a long duration of life, this benediction will be transferred to his son. The son, Ugrasrava, will therefore have all the facilities you offered, a long duration of life in a good and healthy body with no disturbances and full strength of all the senses. Lord Balrama then implored all the sages and Brahmanas that aside from the benediction offered to the son of Romaharshan, they should ask from him any other benediction, and he would be prepared to fulfill it immediately. The Lord thus placed himself in the position of an ordinary Kshatriya and informed the sages that he did not know in what way he could atone for his killing of Romaharshana. But whatever they would suggest, he would be glad to accept. The Brahmanas could understand the purpose of the Lord, and thus they suggested that he atone in a manner beneficial to them. They said, our dear Lord, there is a very powerful demon of the name Balvala. He is the son of Il Ilvala, and he visits this sacred place of sacrifice every fortnight on the full moon and moonless days and creates a great disturbance to the discharge of our duties in the sacrifice. O descendant of the Dar, Dashara, Darsha, Darsharaha family, we all request you to kill this demon. We think that if you kindly kill him, that will be your atonement on our behalf. The demon occasionally comes here and profusely throws upon us contaminated, impure things like pus, blood, stool, urine, and wine. He pollutes this sacred place by showering such filth upon us. After killing Balvala, you may continue to all the sacred places of
You
pilgrimage
may
for
continue.
12 months. In
Let
and
me.
in that
Okay. You may continue towering all the sacred places for the pilgrimage for 12 months, and in this way, you will be completely free from all contamination. This is our prescription. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport for the 78th chapter of Krishna, the killing of Dantavakra, Vidudhara, Viduratha, and Roma Harshana. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, Krishna is accepting. Look, there are two parts to this. One, Krishna is not subjected to any rules and regulations. But still, Krishna accepts the words of Brahmanas out there, and Krishna takes a lower position. Krishna actually is very merciful Father, and he always takes a lower position. Why? Because he wants us to understand that we all have to take a lower position. To exhibit that, Krishna takes a lower position. Krishna does not require to take any lower position because of any reason. Krishna chooses to. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah, audible?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Krishna chooses to take a lower position. And Krishna chooses to take a lower position because of only one reason. Krishna is merciful. Krishna wants to take care of all the sins that has been done. Yeah, Krishna wants to alleviate all of us from all these kind of sins. So continuing with chapter 79. Yes. Hare Krishna. So this is chapter 79. The liberation of Balavala. So this is Balavala, right? The liberation of Balavala and Lord Balrama storing the sacred places. Should I read or someone else is continuing? Okay, I'm continuing. But my eyes are rolling. If by any chance I stop, please be prepared to read. Lord Balrama prepared. Yeah.
If you wish, I can read.
Please continue.
Hare Krishna. The liberation of Balvala and the Lord Balrama towering the sacred places. Lord Balrama prepared himself to meet the demon Balvala. At the time when the demon usually attacked the sacred place, there appeared a great hailstorm. The whole sky became covered with dust and the atmosphere became surcharged with a filthy smell. Just after this, the mischievous demon Balvala began to shower torrents of stool and urine and other impure substances on the arena of sacrifice. After this onslaught, the demon himself appeared with a great trident in his hand. He was a gigantic person, and his black body was like a huge mass of carbon. His hair, his beard, and his mustache appeared reddish like copper, and because of his great beard and mustache, his mouth appeared dangerous and fierce. As soon as he saw the demon, Lord Balrama prepared to attack him. He first considered how he could smash the great demon to pieces. Lord Balrama then called for his plow and club, and they immediately appeared before him. The demon Balavala was flying in the sky, and at the first opportunity, Lord Balrama dragged him down with his plow and angrily smashed the demon's head with his club. Balrama's striking fractured the demon's forehead, making blood flow profusely. Screaming loudly, the demon, who had been such a great disturbance to the pious Brahmanas, fell on the ground like a mountain with a red oxide peak being struck and smashed to the ground by a thunderbolt. The inhabitants of Naimisharanya, learned sages and Brahmanas, became most pleased by seeing this, and they offered their respectful prayers to Lord Balrama. They offered their heartfelt blessings to the Lord, and all agreed that none of Lord Balrama's attempts to do something would ever be a failure. The sages and Balram and Brahmanas then performed a ceremonial bathing of Lord Balrama, just as the demigods bathe King Indra when he is victorious over the demons. The Brahmanas and sages honored Lord Balrama by presenting him with first class new clothing and ornaments and the lotus garland of victory. This garland was a reservoir of all beauty and was everlasting. It was never to be dried up. After this incident, Lord Balrama took permission from the Brahmanas assembled at Naimisharanya and accompanied by other Brahmanas went to the bank of the river Kaushiki. After taking his bath in this holy place, he proceeded toward the river Saryu and visited the source of the river. Traveling on the bank of the Saryu River, he gradually reached Prayag, where there he is a confluence of three rivers, the Ganges, Yamuna, and Saraswati. Here also he took his bath, and then he worshipped in the local temples of the demigods and as enjoined in the Vedic literature, offered oblations to the forefathers and sages. He gradually reached the ashrama of the sage Pulaha and from there went to the rivers Gandaki and Gomati. After this, he took his bath in the river Vipasha. Then he gradually came to the bank of Son River. The Son River is still running as one of the big rivers in Bihar province. He also took his bath there and performed the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. He continued his travels and gradually came to the pilgrimage city of Gaya, where there is a celebrated Vishnu temple. According to the advice of his father, Vasudev, he offered oblations to the forefathers in the Vishnu temple. From here, he traveled to the delta of the Ganges, where the sacred river Ganges mixes with the Bay of Bengal. This sacred place is called Ganga Sagar, and at the end of the January every year, there is still a great assembly of saintful persons and pious men, just as there is an assembly of saintly persons in the Prayag every year called the Magha Mela fair. After finishing his bathing and ritualistic ceremonies at Ganga Sagar, Lord Balrama proceeded toward the mountain known as Mahindra Parvata, where he met Parshuram, an incarnation of Lord Krishna, and offered him respect by bowing down before him. After this, Lord Balrama turned towards southern India and visited the banks of the river Godavari. After taking his bath in the river Godavari and performing the necessary ritualistic ceremonies, he gradually visited the other rivers, the Vena, Pampa, Bhimarathi. On the bank of the river Bhimarathi is the deity called Swami Kartikeya. After visiting Kartikeya, Lord Balrama gradually proceeded to Shailpura, a pilgrimage city in the province of Maharashtra. Shailpura is one of the biggest districts in Maharashtra province. He then gradually proceeded toward Dravid Desh. Southern India is divided into five parts called Panchdravid. Northern India is also divided into five parts called Panchagod. All the important acharyas of the modern age, namely Shankaracharya, Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Vishnu Swami, and Nimbarka, adventured themselves in the Dravid provinces. Lord Chaitanya, however, appeared in Bengal, which is part of the five Gauda Deshas. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hey Krishna.
The most
I'm feeling
important
giddiness.
The
Not
most
able to-
important place of pilgrimage in southern India or Dravida is
I
being.
remember you were talking about this one, Bengal.
Yes, Prabhu.
Where is it? Okay, last part. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. I heard all those things. Yeah, please continue. I'm hearing, but I am not able to concentrate as in able to.
The most important place of pilgrimage in southern India or Dravida is Venkatachala, commonly known as Balaji. After visiting this place, Lord Balrama proceeded toward Vishnu Kanchi and from there he proceeded along the bank of the Kaveri. While going to Vishnu Kanchi, he visited Shiva Kanchi. Lord Balrama took his bath in the river Kaveri. Then he gradually reached Rangashetra. Rangashetra. The biggest Vishnu temple in the world is in Rangashetra, and the Vishnu deity there is celebrated as Ranganatha. There is a similar temple of Ranganatha in Vrindavan. Although not as big as the temple in Rangashetra, it is biggest in Vrindavan. After
Hare Krishna.
visits,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Just a minute, please wait for a while. Now we see that Balrama is going to temples. Earlier we saw some incarnation of Krishna. What was it? Please reconnect. Some incarnation of Krishna, and Balrama bowed down to that incarnation. Yeah, was it Vyasdeva? Huh? Balrama bowed down. Yeah, what was it? Offered his respect. Parshuram. Parshuram. Now look at this. Parshuram is another incarnation of Krishna, and Balrama is bowing down. Balrama is going different places of worship, of temple. Now who is Balrama? Balrama is expansion of Krishna. So ideally, Krishna is going to many places. Just think of this. On one side, we have Krishna, who is going to many places. On the other hand, same Krishna is unaffected. What is true and what is not? Why would Krishna bow down to himself? Why would Krishna do this? Krishna is bowing down. Krishna is going to different places of pilgrimage. Why would Krishna do it? Hmm? Yeah. Look, Krishna did some sin, right? It is said that Krishna did some sin. Krishna can never do any sin. This is again achintya bheda. Krishna can never do any sin, but it is felt by great sages that yeah, Krishna did some sin. In the form of Balrama, Krishna did some sin. Now, as a part of atonement, he is going to different places. Right? Now, why is Krishna doing this? Again, back to the same idea. Krishna is doing this because whatever the leader does, a common man follows. He must set a right example so that others may follow it in the correct manner. Yeah. Okay. You have to start from here. Can someone read? Someone else wants to read? 51. We have 9 more minutes. No one? Let me try. After visiting Rangashetra, Lord Balrama gradually proceeded towards Madurai, commonly known as Mathura of southern India. After visiting the place, he gradually proceeded towards the Setu Bandha, the place where Lord Balrama constructed the stone bridge from India to Lanka, Ceylon. In this particularly holy place, Lord Balrama distributed 10,000 cows to the local Brahmana priest. It is Vedic custom that when a rich visitor goes to any place of pilgrimage, he gives the local priest houses, cows, ornaments, and garments as gift of charity. The system of visiting places of pilgrimage and providing the local brahmanas, priests, and with all necessities of life has greatly deteriorated in this age of Kali. The rich section of the population, because of this degradation in Vedic culture, is no longer attracted by these places of pilgrimage, and the Brahmana priest who depend on such visitors have also deteriorated in their professional duty of helping the visitors. These Brahmana priests in the places of worship, pilgrimage, are, are called Panda or Pandita. This means that they were formerly very learned Brahmanas and used to guide the visitors all the detail of the purpose of coming there. And thus both the visitor and the priest benefited by mutual cooperation. Now, it might be very, very striking for you all. In this age, pandas are often looked down upon as someone who would rob you in the name of worshipping. They would rob you of your money. But actually, pandas are very elevated personalities, very elevated. Because of this fallen age, because of this fallen condition, they are doing some wrong things. But internally, ideally, they're very right people, doing all the good things. Just a case in point, a panda, I don't know if anyone of you have visited or not. Now, this is about Devi Devta worship. This is not about Krishna. But again, Lord Balrama is repenting for what is perceived sin. It is not a sin. Krishna can do anything, and that is the rule. Dharma comes from Krishna. Krishna is not bound by any rules and regulations. So yes, ideally, there's no rule that would govern Krishna. Now it was Balrama. I was talking about Haridwar. In Haridwar, there are a lot of priests by the name Panda. They could tell your family lineage in 10 generations, 15 generations. They could tell. Your father was this, your forefather was this, your great forefather, grandfather was this, your great grandfather was this, everyone in the family. Now, to tell one person is very simple, but they have lineage of everyone. Whoever would visit them, they have a lineage of them. Now, it may look very simple as of now, because now we are living in the age of Google and online documentary of things. We know what has happened last day, 7 days before, 10 days before. Earlier, it was very difficult. Yeah. And these pandas would have signed documents of them. Right. So yeah, what we need to understand is that, yeah, everyone is doing their bit. Now these pandas are for this one, Karm Kand, right? For a devotee, Karm Kand is not required. Not required. Yeah. Karm Kand is required for those who are non-devotees. For devotees, it is not required. Yeah. Devotees are above all these things. Yes. Now Krishna is doing all these things. Krishna is bowing down to set a very perfect example to those who would be following Krishna in future. Hmm. Although we cannot copy Krishna, we have to follow Krishna, right? But many of still you must be seeing many people, many deviated people who would talk like, Krishna did so many marriage, so I can do so many marriage. Right? Please try and understand. It was Krishna. It was not you. Krishna spells out what the rule is, and we have to follow. That is Krishna. That is us. This is our position. That is Krishna's will. Yeah. Krishna can do anything he wants, and we must do whatever Krishna wants. Else, we have just read whatever knowledge we have, whatever understanding we have, everything is waste. Yeah. If we are not using it for Krishna, every knowledge is waste. And suppose you do not have any knowledge, but you really want to serve Krishna, you are already a devotee of Krishna. You do not require a lot of knowledge. Yeah. So a devotee is always surrendered onto Krishna. He always sees what is best for Krishna and he would do it. That should be our approach. That should be, we should try to have that approach and worship Krishna with all our hearts. Yeah. Please be more dedicated, worship more, worship better, and do whatever you can to revive the lost consciousness. Yes. Anyway, thanks for joining, and we would continue from here. It is clear from the description of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yeah. Do you want a freebie? Some free stuff? Do you want something? Let me show you. Do you want gift? If no one says, I would not be giving. Only if you want, I would be giving. Nobody wants? Okay, I'm not giving that. There's a gift. Okay, give me 2 minutes. Let's do Vaishnava Pranam Mantra, and thereafter I would show you something. Ashlisha Mataji, are you there? You would like to see as well. I was about to forward you. And one more. Yeah, you just have to hear. Do not have to do anything. Just have to hear and see. Let's do Vaishnava Pranam Mantra. Who would do it? Who would start? I mean. Okay, 2 participants. Anshika, Hare Krishna. You are not reading. Why? You should be reading. Okay, I interjected you in between where you were not comfortable reading and you stopped reading. Was it the reason? No, you should not. Again and again, you should raise your hand. It does not matter. Look, if you are not reading properly, I would stop you. But it does not matter. In fact, that should be our approach. Reject me every time, but I would try to serve Krishna every time. Reject. You keep on rejecting me. I would keep on try to serve Krishna. When you take it, when you feel bad about it now, actually it has hurt your ego. Never ever do that. Let anything may happen. If I have to serve Krishna, I would be serving Krishna. That's it. No ifs and buts. Yeah. Okay. Please start. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. वाञ्छकल्पातरुभ्यश्च
वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च
कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च
कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की
जय
रिमाइंडर श्रील प्रपात की जय, भगवत गीता की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की
जय
जय, सभी भक्तों की जय। हरे कृष्णा कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्णा
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 कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
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 राम
हरे
हरे
राम
राम
हरे राम
हरे
राम
हरे
राम
हरे
हरे हरे
कृष्णा
हरे
हरे
कृष्णा
कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा
हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे
राम
हरे
राम
राम
राम राम
राम
हरे
हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
हरे हरे
कृष्ण
हरे
हरे हरे राम
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 हरे
राम हरे हरे
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So those who are joining on YouTube, you would